Today's video is a bit of a quickie news video, mostly because I have to work at really odd times this week where I can't really make any videos at any point. So I'm delivering one on a topic I actually care about. If you guys remember earlier this season, I made a video about how much I straight out disliked the idea of a dynamic queue even before it came out. That still hasn't changed, and I know a lot of people don't like it either. Now, I will preface this video with reminding people that Riot has released numbers that pre-mates don't really increase the win ratios a whole lot, if at all. However, I can say through personal experience that even if they don't increase the chances of winning, they certainly have decreased the fun I would have in some games, whether the enemy has a pre-made or my team does. It's mostly the lack of coordination that really bugs me, or the fact that sometimes your teammates conflict with those that can actually, communicate. So keep that in mind. This isn't a you need a pre-made to win, if not a more pre-mates are unfun situation. Anyhow, the news I have is basically an evolution of the system in the most bizarre of ways. It has to be made very clear that this is simply a survey that Riot has been tossing around, so it may or may not be implemented, but we know they've implemented things they've surveyed before. It is also worth noting that Ghostcrawler mentioned that we'd be seeing some changes to ranked next season, and they could be referring to this. A little while ago, Riot released some sort of badge system to identify if your rank was obtained through pre-made or solo. I thought that was one of the more idiotic things they could have ever done because it is very minuscule and it basically becomes a badge of shame. They don't do anything for you other than to let others see that your rank was obtained through grouping, and, as we know, many consider that a sign of being a bad player. It basically shames you for doing what Riot was trying to encourage people to do in the first place, and that was to play with friends. It was an attempt by Riot to appease the players who felt that their rank wasn't as valuable because a dynamic player could obtain it too. The new system is basically taking that to an extreme. Riot will be making two new ranks, solo duo rank and dynamic rank. It is exactly as it sounds, with one only allowing you to duel with one person and the other letting you get into a group. That is technically the only true difference, since before you reach Diamond, you're in the same queues anyways. Yes, as silly as that sounds, you are still queuing with pre-mates just like you are right now. The only thematic difference is that dynamic queue players earn the same ranks with different names: Copper, Iron, Steel, and Titanium. They cannot rank beyond Titanium as pre-mates aren't allowed into Diamond, so they basically linger there. The kicker is that if you're a dynamic queue player and want to rank beyond Titanium, you can do some placement matches to transfer over to solo queue, and it would likely lose quite a bit of rank in order to do so, and then you continue on your merry way. I guess it's a clever way of separating the more competitive players, since it encourages them to go into solo queue, or else they'll make the hardest part of their climb absolutely pointless. In the end though, it all kind of seems pointless. I also have to mention that in Diamond you can still dual queue, but past that you can only true solo. These changes actually do help the players at the very top, and honestly this whole thing at least seems to be acknowledging that the issues of dynamic queue only truly affect the top percentage of the game. That's one thing we all have to acknowledge. Pre-mates don't really harm our ability to win, just mostly our fun and patience. There is one other major aspect of this that I consider rather stupid though. Everything else about this, the stupid rank names and the bizarre splitting, doesn't compare to this, since those are just labels. Riot hints at the fact that players would have different end of the season rewards depending on where they are, in either rank I mean, if it's just borders and cosmetic shit for your profile, then no one should really care. But if they separate things like champion skins behind the different queues, then that's rather stupid. Anyhow, my full thoughts on this are that it is simply the same nonsense as before, but simply placing different labels on everything in an attempt to appease people somehow. The players who are very adamant about their ranking will feel bronze is better than copper, silver better than iron, gold over steel, and so on. I don't think this would have any effect whatsoever gameplay wise, which honestly may not be a big deal, but it will definitely cool off some people, although it would also likely give them more tools to harass others with. To sum it up, it basically is largely cosmetic, mostly pointless, but sometimes that's all you need to calm people the fuck down, especially those with massive EPs. Also, abbreviating Titanium might be funny. I'm a plat player. Well, I'm a tit player. Goddamn titties.